Good morning. For those of you who don't know, we had our furnace died, and it took us a couple weeks to get a new one. So when it's warm in here, we really we appreciate it now, especially. So welcome to UUCC, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua. We are a group of spiritual freethinkers who gather to celebrate life, build community, and better the world. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. I'm Carrie Teague, your worship associate for this morning, and the service today will be led by Reverend Maggie Meeker. Thank you to everyone on this morning's worship team, also including music by Bill Mells and religious education for children 3 and over by Pat and Kaya Mells, because I know we've had some children arrive. If this is your first visit, welcome. We invite you to sign the visitor's book in the entryway, and whether it's your first visit or your 1,000th, we are so glad that you came. The service is also being live streamed on our YouTube channel. We plan on continuing with hybrid worship services so you can join us each week here in person, on Zoom, or later on YouTube. To help us connect better with our friends watching from home, please turn around and give a wave to the camera in the back by the clock. At the end of the service, we will invite our friends on Zoom to turn their cameras and return the wave. I have some announcements to share with you today. To help make the most of our time together, event details can be found on the printed announcements in the back of the room on the side over here, right behind where it says Held in Community, on the other side of that wall. They're there. Or they can be found in the weekly email. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share, please fill out the card on or near your chair. We invite you to bring them forward and place them in the basket right there when Bill rings the chimes and begins to play. You can also come forward and drop a pebble into the water if you have a joy or a sorrow that you'd prefer not to share. Please join us today after the service for our second Sunday potluck. So the second Sunday of every month, we do a potluck after the service, and it's always fun. And whether you brought a dish to share or not, you're welcome to stay. We always have enough. During and immediately following lunch, we'll be crafting with friends for the handmade holiday sale, which will be opening next week. A group from the SEJ Committee, the Social Environmental Justice Committee, plans to attend a presentation on environmental ethics at Farmington Friends on November 9th at 1 p.m., and the Canandaigua Treaty Commemoration event at 2 p.m. in front of the County Courthouse in Canandaigua on November 11th. Please let Laura Wink know if you're interested in joining. On the third Friday of every month, we'll be hosting Justice Table, a community potluck from 6 to 8 p.m. Children are welcome. Bring a dish to pass as you are able. This month will be Justice Friendsgiving, where we will plan to discuss local Indigenous history and current justice issues, as well as working on ways to help make sure all our neighbors have enough food. Contact Danielle Lyon with any questions. Danielle's in the back. We'll be collecting political and other yard signs in a bin on the porch to repurpose. Anyone is welcome to leave signs they don't want or take as many as they can use for their own projects. Save the date on Sunday, December 7th after the service from 11:30 to 3 p.m. for a new ministry startup program. This is an opportunity for the entire community to gather to review where UUCC has been and to consider how to use this new ministry with Reverend Cindy to envision and work to manifest the hopes and dreams of what we can create together. A meal will be provided and childcare will be provided if needed. Stay tuned for more details. We will need to know in advance how many people plan to come to that so we can make sure we have enough food. But details on that are coming. Are there any other announcements for the good of the community this morning?
I just got one, and the meditation hymn today will be hymn number 4, as opposed to the one we normally sing for something completely different.
As we prepare to be fully together, I remind you to silence your phones or any device that may bing or beep in your pocket or pocketbook. We now enter a space of worship, and now is the time to bring forward any joys or sorrows or come up to drop a pebble. I invite you to join me in our chalice lighting words. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning, and welcome to those of you gathered here and to those of you gathered here on Zoom. I'm grateful to be here with you. Today is the 7th Sunday of autumn, which means we're a little more than halfway between the fall equinox and the winter solstice. And over the past week, things have really started to feel that way as we've ended daylight saving time and entered the dark half of the year, and it's gotten colder. It's been a full week, too, with the Buffalo Bills beating the Chiefs last Sunday. And then with Election Day, so there are points of light along with the darkness. And November is National Native American Heritage Month. And here we are together to pay attention to all of it and to honor and love all of life. Come, let us worship together. Our opening hymn will be number 347, Gather the Spirit.
Gather
So do we have kids that would like to come up front? And you're welcome to do that or to stay where you are. It's all okay. Our story for this morning is Old Turtle and the Broken Truth. And some of you may know this story. And I say that because there's a line from it that's on your Facebook page. Once upon a time, not so far away in a beautiful land, a lot like this, and I see the beauty out there this morning, lakes and fields and trees and breezes, all teachers whispering truths night and day. One night, a truth came streaking down out of the stars, and it broke into two pieces, and part of it fell to the ground and the other part sailed away. A crow came along and picked up the one piece. Here it is. Because crows like things that are bright. And Crow looked at it and thought about it and said, I'm not sure this piece is quite right. Something is missing. I think I'll leave it here. I'll find something else. And other animals came along and they did the same thing. Raccoon and bear and so on, they picked it up and they thought it wasn't complete, and they left it where it was. And then one day, a human person came along and found the broken truth. Can I have a volunteer to be the SCOBY, the human person? And it had writing on it. Why don't you show people? It said, it said, "You are loved." It was the most wonderful thing he'd ever seen. It made him feel proud and happy. And he took the wonderful truth to his people. So pass it around and we'll just let it go round. They all loved the truth, and they believed in it, and it became their most important possession. But gradually, for some reason, people forgot about the breezes and the fields and the lakes and the trees. They heard only their truth, that they were loved. They called it the truth. It made them feel good and proud and strong. But they also began to dislike other people who weren't like them and didn't share their truth. And as time passed, other people wanted their great truth for themselves, and they all ended up fighting over it. And everything suffered. The trees, waters, animals, earth, and the people all suffered. Then one day, a little girl went to find Old Turtle, who was the wisest being on all the earth. It was a very long way. She rode on the backs of animals and on the wings of birds. They helped her find her way, and she finally came to the very center of the world. She'd never seen so much beauty. And there she found Old Turtle, and she said, "Where I live, the earth is sore, and people are hurting and fighting, and they say it's always been this way and it'll never change. Can it change, Old Turtle?" Old Turtle told her it hadn't always been like that the broken truth caused trouble because it was close to the whole truth, but incomplete. "But where is the missing truth?" she said. "Can we put the truth back together again?" "First," said Old Turtle, "remember that there are truths all around us and within us. They twinkle in the night sky and they bloom upon the earth. They fall on us every day, silent as snow and gentle as rain. The people clutching their one truth forget that it is a part of all the truths of life. They no longer see or hear these other truths, but perhaps, little one, you can." The little girl looked at all the beauty around her, hills, flowers, clouds, birds, light, and she began to feel that it was all very amazing and mysterious, and that truths were everywhere. Then Old Turtle said, "The broken truth in life itself will truly only be mended when one person meets another who looks different or has different ways and sees that they're both really a lot alike, and that every person and being is important, and that the world was made for each one of us." And then Old Turtle placed something in her hand and told her it was time to go back to her people and tell them what she had learned. Well, it took a long time to get back. And when you take a long journey like that, especially one that touches your heart, you are changed. And when she got back, her people didn't recognize her. And when she told them about a world made of silent and gentle truths, and all people being one, they didn't understand. Then a crow flew up to the high place above the village where the great truth was kept, where all could see it. Who has the truth? Can you bring it up and hold it up? And the little girl knew just what to do. You hold it. She climbed up and fit her piece to the other piece. It fit perfectly. And now it said, "You are loved, and so are they." And everybody stared at it. They just stared at it, and they thought, and they looked, and they thought. And finally, they began to understand. They began to see the beauty all around them, in each other, and in the hills, the flowers, the clouds, the birds, the light, and they all began to feel that it was all very amazing and mysterious, and that truths were everywhere. And as they met other people different from themselves, they began to see that they were all a lot alike. And far away on a hill in the center of the world, Old Turtle smiled. The end.
Now is the time in our service to join together in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts of both time and money support our church in its work. Each week, we like to spotlight a group or committee and thank them for their gift of time. And this week, the group is all the people working to address food insecurity and hunger, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. 1/4 of our plate collection for the darkness season will go to our service partner, The Spot. The Spot provides free food, clothing, school supplies, and personal care items to students in the Canandaigua and Victor school districts. Their work ensures equitable, easy access to basic needs. You can give to this morning's offering by placing cash or a check into the basket or by one of the options on your screen. Please make a note that your gift is intended for today's offering. We now gratefully accept the offering. And I'm going to read this, I guess, instead of the music today, along with the music. Okay. While New York State has released emergency funds to support food banks and pantries, there is a huge gap that will remain in the absence of SNAP funding. Many of our neighbors will be further impacted by the government shutdown and will go without work and pay for weeks to come, if not longer. With Thanksgiving around the corner, partners from the Unitarian Universalist Church in Canandaigua, Finger Lakes Justice Partnership, and Friends in Geneva, New York are gathering cans and spices to prep hearty meals in a bag to stock the shelves of blessing boxes, sharing sheds, and little free farm stands across the Finger Lakes. There will be a link in this week's newsletter and a poster in the kitchen with the ingredients needed for 9 meals that feed a family of 4 for less than $10. Please bring bagged meals as you are able and encourage friends and neighbors to participate. Abby has been collecting all the locations of blessing boxes, sharing sheds, and little free farm stands across Ontario, Wayne, and Yates counties. This information will be posted as a publicly available Google map to share with everyone. If you know of a spot, please email her. The secondary goal of the map will be to create a schedule of volunteers to maintain a decent stock of food and supplies at these shelves through the coming months using donations brought to UUCC and our partners. If you'd like to be involved, please reach out to Abby or Jeff. We've got quite a few joys and sorrows today. We're going to start with the sorrows. Marie's neighbor, Heather Ann, is in the hospital with an infection. Please pray for her healing. Reverend Peggy is feeling the loss of a longtime friend, Jean, who passed this last week. And then we've got Joyce. Danielle, congratulations to Tom Lyon, mayor-elect for the city of Canandaigua. Megan's also so happy for Tom Lyon and for all of Canandaigua that he won the election for mayor, and may good come from all of it. We're getting these last-minute additions here. Maria is going to have a play date after church today. She's super excited about that. Rick Urich has one more final grandchild that has arrived. Yay. Stacy's son's fiance and son faced an ICE interview in New York City, which sounds scary, but they were permitted to stay. So that's great. And I just wanted to share one thing for me and Taro, that we are going to be the proud parents of a 5-month-old Bernedoodle puppy as of 3 p.m. this afternoon, and he's super cute. All right. I'm going to now drop a pebble into the column of water to represent all of our joys and sorrows that might stay in our hearts that were unspoken today. And as I do so, if you could say with me, we are with you. We are with you. All right, and at this time, if there are any children who would like to attend religious education, please go downstairs with Kaya and Pat.
I invite you now into a time of prayer and meditation, followed by a shared silence. Spirit of life and love and abundance, we bring all these joys and concerns, along with all that we hold silently in our hearts, into that place deep within ourselves. Seeking the comfort and the healing and the wisdom that we find when we quiet ourselves and dwell within that still space where the everyday meets the timeless, the sacred. May we dwell here often, finding the spaciousness that we need and that our world needs. Finding the love that we need, that our world needs. Let's share a short time of silence. May our thoughts and our prayers bring forth blessings. Amen. I have a sermon here somewhere. Last fall, I joined a group of retired Unitarian Universalist ministers, which is what I am, to read the book Life After Doom, Wisdom and Courage for a World Falling Apart by Brian McLaren. McLaren was a conservative evangelical pastor for many years who, as he puts it, quote, eventually explored beyond the narrow hall of my religious tradition and discovered that there were better ways to interpret the Bible than I had been taught. I migrated from fundamentalism, he says, to more open and thoughtful forms of faith that encouraged me to welcome truth wherever it was found, including in other faiths. Life After Doom, which was published last year, deals primarily with ecological overshoot and economic injustice. In other words, using our Earth's resources faster than they can be replaced and creating waste and pollution faster than the Earth can detoxify it. As you might imagine from the title, Life After Doom faces squarely the threat of global warming, the knowledge that the way our civilization is currently structured is unsustainable, the understanding that most people won't change the way they do things until things get really bad, and that in the meantime they hide any worry they feel because they don't know what to do about it, and because they can still deny it. In a recent interview in the New York Times, William Ruto, president of Kenya, said, "The effects of climate change are in every continent. The only difference is that developed countries can cushion themselves." The good news is that 90% of McLaren's book is about what we can do and mostly be, because doing is not my focus this morning. To move our world toward wisdom, courage, resilience, and creativity. His main points are about our culture, indigenous culture, and letting be. Our culture, despite all that is good and beautiful about it, has been shaped by and is characterized by colonialism, supremacy, overconsumption, and exploitation, theft of land, resources, and labor, to the point that it's hard for us to see it because it's the water we swim in. We want our lifestyles to be sustainable, of course, but we are caught in what McLaren calls our addiction to cheap energy, and we are cushioned. Plus, as Einstein is said to have observed, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that was used to create them. It's hard for us to even imagine an alternative. Indigenous culture is an alternative way of thinking, emphasizing community, cooperation, sharing, and living in harmony with the Creator and with all of creation. Wealth lies in having enough to share. Everything is alive and sacred, and we are all related and interconnected. Our world needs that kind of thinking right now. According to Stephen Charleston, who is an Episcopal bishop and native elder, most indigenous religions understand their relationship with the Creator to be a covenant with three members: the Great Spirit, humanity, and the earth. A three-legged stool, he called it. So when in our culture we do not honor the spirit of life and love or our Mother Earth, we are reduced to a one-legged stool. The Lakota leader, Crazy Horse, once said, speaking prophetically in the midst of what was truly the doom of his people, "Upon suffering beyond suffering, the red nation shall rise again, and it shall be a blessing for a sick world. I see a time of 7 generations when there will be those among the Lakota who will carry knowledge and understanding of unity among all living things, and the young white ones will come and ask for their wisdom." asking people whom our culture has oppressed for wisdom is complicated. President Biden, in just the last few years, was the first US president to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day, and President Trump was quick to reinstate his word, Columbus Day. As a culture, we only vaguely comprehend the violence and trauma that whites inflicted on Indigenous people, to say nothing of understanding the issues they currently face or appreciating their contributions to our world. But we must start from where we are. Stephen Charleston extends a hand. His most recent book, We Survived the End of the World, Lessons from Native America on Apocalypse and Hope, is about Native American prophets. He tells the stories of 4 prophets that arose among various Native tribes during the years when they were losing their lands and their way of life to European settlers. Their names are Ganeodayo, Tenskwatawa, Smohala, and Wovoka. Maybe some of you know some of these names? One of them, Ganeodayo, lived near here. He was born in Avon. I was surprised reading this book by how much I don't know about Native American history. Each of these prophets warned against following the ways of the whites and leaned into tradition, but with new elements and emphases, in particular, individual responsibility, community, relationship with the earth, and unity in diversity. Charleston says we can all be prophets, that these were ordinary people, that spiritual vision is available to everyone, and that their work, which was to warn of danger and to guide people toward helpful ways of responding, is work we all can do. We all can wake up, name what is happening, and contribute our wisdom and our love. Charleston ends with a Hopi legend about a broken tablet. He says, the tablet holds important truths but is incomplete and will someday be made complete when a people who are different from them will supply the missing piece. They are still waiting, he says. Our world needs the combined experience and wisdom of all people. One of the things that fascinated me the most in McLaren's book was that in the middle of talking about indigenous wisdom, he turned to the Bible, which he has come to see as, quote, the collective diary of an indigenous people who saw what the colonizer mindset was doing to humanity, to the earth, and to her creatures. I had never seen it quite that way, but from beginning to end, the Bible warns that trying to live like gods will only bring trouble. That the good life follows from caring for those who are vulnerable. It starts with the stories of creation, the Garden of Eden, where the first humans lived in a paradise in which Yahweh, the God of the Hebrew Bible, said they could eat the fruit of every tree in the garden except the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which of course they did eat. But my point here is that Yahweh apparently wanted people to live with limits. It's an idea that's still hard for me to take in. In the story of the Tower of Babel, the Israelites wanted to build a tower that reached to the heavens, but Yahweh said, now nothing they plan to do will be beyond them. So he scattered the people and caused them to speak different languages. When Yahweh called Abraham, known today as the father of the faith, he said, I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you so that you will be a blessing, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Imagine a nation that is to be a blessing to other nations and not a threat. Later, when the Israelites wanted to form their confederation of tribes into a kingdom, Yahweh warned them against it because it would mean a few wealthy people would dominate and exploit the most most of the people. And then we come to all the prophets, Isaiah and Jeremiah and so on, those mostly men who warned of coming doom, which did happen when Jerusalem was destroyed by the Babylonians. The prophets were always calling the people back to what Yahweh wanted of them, to care about justice, and especially to care for the widows and the orphans and the strangers, foreigners, the most vulnerable among them, rather than worrying about their status or wealth or proper religious rituals. Disaster for those so comfortable in Israel, says the prophet Amos, for trampling on the poor man and for extorting levies on his wheat and thrusting the poor aside at the gates and hating the one who teaches justice and declares the truth. And that's a refrain that continued with Jesus, who emphasized loving your neighbor, broadly defined, and the civilization of God as opposed to the domination systems of this world. Brian McLaren, by the way, has an interesting definition of God: the transcendent, loving presence in whom every creature is beloved. And also, by the way, I know that I'm talking a lot about God in the Bible, and there's more to come, but keep thinking of it as another indigenous culture, and one that is part of Unitarian Universalism's religious heritage. So third, McLaren talks about letting be. His book is both a call to action and a call to let be, to accept and even welcome the reality of the times that we live in, to open our hearts to it all. Because when you move past denial or anger into acceptance, more of yourself is freed up to respond. You can be more creative and you can be more loving. And McLaren says that right now is a magnificent time to be alive because it's a time that matters so much. You are needed as exactly who you are to join the whole cosmic dance of everything and let your light shine. Yes, there's much we can do, and yes, we need to find all the ways we can to support ourselves and each other in this journey, but in the end, he says, we don't know what's going to happen, and we don't need to know. We need only walk the path that is ours to walk, giving what is ours to give, and savoring the gift of this day. McLaren's book led me to one other book that adds another layer to all of this. It's by Richard Rohr, The Tears of Things, Prophetic Wisdom for an Age of Outrage. And again, it's about prophets. Rohr is a progressive Christian, and his book is a plea to meet these times that we are in by letting our outrage be transformed into tears. Rohr says that the prophets of the Hebrew Bible were necessary cultural critics, pointing out from within what wasn't working, but that they weren't just about ranting and raving, warning of disaster, or even speaking truth to power. He says that the prophets themselves evolved from anger and judgment at the state of their world into grief at the tragedy of the human condition. That is, the imperfection of everything, the woundedness of everything. That always people, we, are needing to be called back from our separateness, our unseeing, our indifference. Like the people in our story earlier with the broken truth. And anger is not a bad thing. It's usually justified. It lets us know when something is wrong. It motivates us. But as the prophets open to the grief that often lies beneath anger, they came to an acceptance and forgiveness of reality, and then to a profound empathy and compassion. Now they understood their God better. Their God wasn't all about punishment or reward, but about love. Amos, speaking for God, ends up saying, I mean to restore the fortunes of my people Israel. They will rebuild their ruined cities and live in them, plant vineyards and drink their wine, dig gardens, and eat their produce. Rohr wants us to make that same journey. Tears are at the heart of everything, he says. It needn't be physical tears, but tears represent tapping into something deep within, the depths from which we care. The depths at which words and logic and ego fall away and spirit comes to the fore. Tears don't change everything that's wrong, but they change the person who weeps. Tears soften us. They move us closer to love. And so in this beautiful, imperfect world, in this time of threatening doom, as we look for wisdom and courage, let us look within to that still center where we find the truth of our own experience, and to the earth for the truths that fall night and day, just as right now leaves are falling and fruit and seeds for future life. And to other people and other cultures that have tried to live in harmony with the earth and its sacred rhythms, and let us always center love, the center of our UU values. Love for all beings, love for our sore and beautiful Mother Earth, love for the whole mess and beauty of life. And may that great web of interdependence and sharing nourish and sustain us all. Amen. Always my favorite place to be, right there in front of the piano. Be of good courage and at peace, love all souls, and may all the truths of our world always move you toward more love. Amen.
Our closing hymn today is in the teal hymnal, 1068, Rising Green. Please rise as you're willing and able, and join us to sing.
Staff doth run in my veins.
If you're with us on Zoom and would like to wave goodbye at the end of the service, you can turn on your cameras now. Please join me in our words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.